Nickel, just can't wait to get into some of these potential transfers that we're keeping our eye on. Stevie, I just want your quick thoughts on them. Let's start off with Marouane Fellaini, one of the biggest signings for Manchester United in the post-Sir Alex Ferguson era. Now he's linked with a move to the Chinese Super League. Stevie, just looking back at his career at Man United, how would you rate it?
Well, let's be honest. 6 months after he went there, ever since then, every single transfer window, his name comes up that he's leaving.
Because he's not quite the Man United player.
No, he's not your what you would think. Certainly not what Ferguson built. If you don't mind being known as a super sub, if you don't mind being known as a guy who will come off the bench and change the game by your physical presence, then yes, it's been a success at Manchester United. But if you want to look at him and United, what did he do for United? He didn't make them a better footballing team. Basically, he was a super sub, wasn't he?
Yep, and the fans didn't really seem to embrace him as much as he would have liked them. No. Let's move on now to your Merseyside rivals, Everton. Word is they could be getting ready to let go Idrissa Gueye to Paris Saint-Germain, but Marco Silva apparently has threatened to quit if this deal goes through.
I find it extraordinary after the amount of money that Everton have spent trying to put a great team on the field. Then you would turn round, 2 years later, and get rid of arguably one of your best players in Idrissa Gueye. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It doesn't make a lot of sense that Silva would actually resign over this.
We've not really seen managers do that much.
No, I mean, why would you? It makes no sense at all. Silva wants to have a long career in the Premier League, and he certainly needs to get a long career at one club. He said, what, 3 different clubs in the Premier League already? So I don't see him resigning, whether Gueye goes or not, but I don't see Gueye going. It makes no sense. The owners at Everton want to push towards the top 4, and you cannot do that if you're getting rid of one of your main players.
All right, finally, let's talk about Arsenal. It is official that Denis Suarez has gone there now on loan from Barcelona, but they still want another winger, Yannick Carrasco. They're eyeing him as well. Word is because they're not quite getting Ivan Perisic as much as they would want right now, or might not be able to sign him by tomorrow. So what do you make of this one, Stevie?
Well, I would definitely think Perisic for me is the better of the 3 players, but it's not happening. Manchester United couldn't get him, and Arsenal ain't getting him either. Denis Suarez, I don't know what you're getting. You know, if you can't perform at Barcelona with all those players around you, then there has to be question marks on your temperament more than anything else. So Carrasco would be a good signing. Probably, I would think that, you know, he's in China right now. Clearly he went to China for the money. But when you go to a place like that, all of a sudden the money doesn't quite fit the bill. It doesn't quite make you happy. So I think Arsenal are going to get a guy that's going to come back. He's going to come to the Premier League, and we will see the best of Carrasco, the type of Carrasco that was so good at Atletico Madrid.
See, money really can't buy you happiness. And before we go quickly, Stevie, just of all those transfers that we just discussed, which one makes the most sense to you? Which one would be the best rated for you?
Fellaini. You know, he has to go. I don't see him moving to any other top side in Europe, to be honest with you. The money is incredible in China. I've just said that it didn't make it's probably not making Carrasco happy, but I think Fellaini's at the stage of his career where, you know what, get the big payday, and if China's anything, it's a big payday.
All right, well, that's it for me and Mr. Moneybag, Stevie Nickel. We'll continue tracking all of these transfers to see if they do indeed happen by tomorrow here on ESPN SC.
If you don't want the player to beat you, then don't let him beat you.
What do you mean?
You don't attack him after the play.
It wasn't after the play, he had the ball. And that's the point.
Yeah, but we're criticizing a guy for getting fouled, man.
Yes, because he's holding the ball, he's holding onto the ball too much. He's goading the... Listen.
It's professional sports, it's not U13.
There's no...
By the way, you just said the word there. It's professional. He is unprofessional. It's not professional to hold on to the ball when you know people are going to kick you. It's completely unprofessional.
He's playing the game as he sees it. It's not in the rules to foul players. It's not in the rules to foul players.
Unfortunately, because he spent the World Cup rolling about on the ground, and he's now, for the 2nd year in the trot, not going to be available for Paris Saint-Germain in the biggest competition in Europe, the elite competition. The reason why they signed him, he's not going to be available. Now, It's not all his fault, but a huge part of it's his fault. Because he has taken what we would say in the UK, he's taken the mickey out of almost everybody in France because he thinks it's an inferior league, he thinks he's too big for the league, he thinks he's too big for the team, and he certainly thinks he's too big for all the other players playing down the league, earning a pittance, right? And he's got his comeuppance. Messi, Ronaldo, and Brian mentioned it, Messi, and Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard gets kicked probably more than any player, certainly in the Premier League. But he's starting to get cute about it when he shove the ball off and ride challenges.
I can't believe you're not bowing down to Neymar. How dare you?
That's me upsetting
How
PSG
dare
again.
you? Don't you go near him. Don't kick him. Don't tackle him. Just leave him alone.
And score.
Jules, this thing has gone from bad to worse for Chelsea in just a matter of days, seemingly.
Yeah, you're right. He stayed 15 minutes with the team and left out his staff, including Gianfranco Zola, his main assistant, outside of the dressing room, clearly to have just time between him and his players. And when you know what he said after the Arsenal defeat or even the Spurs defeat, you can just imagine after tonight what he had to tell his players. And then when he did his press conference in front of the journalists and he said that mentally they were struggling once again, that they don't even know the basics of his style of football, that they thought they learned it, but actually they haven't learned anything. And it's the end of January, and you think, well, what have you doing all that time if your players don't know anything about your style of play? Also saying that Gonzalo Higuain is not in shape, probably because he hasn't played much this season. So all of that, all those negative comments once again, and again, no reaction. There's no consistency in that Chelsea team whatsoever especially since the last 3 months, really, where they can play well against Spurs in the second leg of the League Cup, but then be terrible at Arsenal, be terrible in the second half tonight at Bournemouth because they played quite well in the first half. And yeah, as soon as they concede that first goal, then they completely collapse. And you do wonder what's going to happen for the rest of the season for Sarri and his players and what kind of relationship he's building with them.
A lot to unpack from this, but I want to start with the move to remove the rest of the staff from the dressing room. Is that normal? Have you ever seen that before?
You know, this guy's making... I mean, you talk about big mistakes.
Why is that a big mistake?
Well, you know what? When you're winning games, you don't need your staff. Everything just ticks over. Everything just goes. It's when you're under pressure, you need your staff. You need somebody there to help you out. You need somebody there to be strong for you. You need somebody there to give you ideas. You need support. And when you push them aside, he's on an island. He's pushed the players aside by criticising them publicly. You see how that's gone. Now he's pushing his staff aside. How are you supposed to feel if you're Zola and you're supposed to be there to help Sarri when he needs it, and he's just pushed you aside? This guy's on his own, and when you're on your own, it usually ends up one thing only: you're gone. When, I don't know, but you're gone.
If you were in his staff,
this guy's done.
If you're in his staff, you would feel humiliated.
Yeah.
Humiliated. And when you walked in that dressing room, whenever he let the staff back in, you'd look at the players and think, the players think we're useless because he didn't even let us in the dressing room.
Jules, we asked you to come up with a Neymar-less 11 for PSG. Cavani, Mbappe still up top. You got Paredes there in the middle, just came over from Zenit. I mean, this is still a pretty good team, Jules. What's your confidence level that this group, the 11 that you've put together for us, could actually get through a tie with Manchester United?
I think they're still capable of, over the 2 legs, knocking out United in the Champions League. There's no doubt about that. The 4-4-2 formation with Cavani and Mbappe up front seems to be what Thomas Tuchel prefers when Neymar is not there. This is the formation is used the most in the games Neymar hasn't played so far this season. That's how they played at the weekend against Rennes in the league when they won 4-1. It seems that Cavani and Mbappe up front are actually linking up quite well together, that their understanding is getting better, at least better than when Neymar plays with them two. And I think Tuchel likes that 4-4-2, which can also switch to a 3-4-3 formation with Di Maria pushing up a bit more and Dani Alves going into wing-back position. So it would be very interesting. I think that's probably what Tuchel could do against United in the 2 legs, especially in the first leg away at Old Trafford. But he has other options. Not many, that's the thing, but he still has other options to play if he wants to. However, losing Neymar at this time of the season is a huge blow for him and for the team.
Get down the tunnel quick enough. Right, let's have a look at the rest of the results from this evening and look at that first scoreline. Remarkable. Chelsea suffering their heaviest defeat for 23 years, losing 4-0 at Bournemouth. So many questions now about Maurizio Sarri. Of course, it was live on BT Sport just a week or so ago that he called out his players for a recent performance. What he says after that defeat will be fascinating. Wilfried Zaha scored his first goal since mid-September but was later sent off as Southampton salvaged a crucial point against Crystal Palace. That would have been a big win for Palace if they'd have held on to that one. And look at that down the bottom. After going out of both domestic cup competitions in the past week, Tottenham came from behind to claim a welcome win against Watford, and it was Fernando Llorente in the 87th minute with the winner for the home side. Right, let's have a look at the table. It could have been so much better for Liverpool, but look, they've increased their lead over Manchester City this week. It grows to 5 points. It could have been 7, of course. Meanwhile, Tottenham, they move up to 54, just a couple of points behind Manchester City now. An awful night for Chelsea, but what about Manchester United? 11 points off the top 4 when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got the job. They are now a win away from the Champions League spots. Well done to them. Meanwhile, down towards the bottom, you can see how good it would have been if Crystal Palace had managed to hold on against Southampton, but those two remain locked on points, 23 each, but they do both move now 4 points above the drop zone. Well, it's going to be a strange atmosphere this coming weekend. We're going to be live in Cardiff for Cardiff against Bournemouth. Of course, it'll be the first home game for Cardiff since their striker Emiliano Sala disappeared just recently. It'll be a really, really difficult Saturday for them. Of course, we'll be live between 5 and 9 o'clock in Cardiff, and I know that Nantes were playing this evening, and a number of Cardiff fans actually went over to France for that match, and the game actually stopped after 9 minutes. Both sets of supporters seeing his name, and the match stopping for a minute in the 9th minute this evening in Nantes, and we'll be in Cardiff at the weekend. Right, an interesting night here at Anfield. It could, of course, been very different. These kinds of things, titles, they exist on the finest of margins.
Again, we've started sloppy and we gave him a goal, and no, it was good. It was a good reaction. We came back into the game and we had spells in the game where we probably should have scored 2.
But even having gone down a goal so early, you kept your shape, kept your discipline, kept working away. Yeah,
we knew there was a top team, so we couldn't really open up as much as we like. We had periods like at the start of the second half where we put them under a lot of pressure, and when we was on top, maybe we should have capitalised on it and maybe gone on to win the game. But no, it's a tough place to come. We'd have took a point before the game, so we're happy and we move on to Sunday now.
That goal just before half-time, that changed the mood in the dressing room. Did it change the plan?
No, it didn't really change the plan. Like you said, we conceded early, but we kept our shape and we were solid as a defensive unit. But no, it's a perfect time to score. We worked on set plays all week, and we knew they'd be important coming to a place like Anfield, and they don't give many goals away, so we thought we could capitalise on something like that, and thankfully we did.
When you clashed with Mane and brought him down, the card came out. Did you fear the worst for a moment there?
No, I think it was the right decision. I didn't actually see him come across my body. I went tight with him, and I did catch him. I stood on the back of his heel, to be fair, and no, I didn't really mean to bring him down, so I thought it was the right decision. But no, you're always worried because it looked like he was going to run in through on goal because Johnny Evans I think he went underneath his foot. So no, it was art in hand's moment, but no, thankfully it was a yellow card.
The puzzle is you perform so well. You beat Manchester City, you beat Chelsea, you draw here at Anfield. What's the difference week to week?
We can't put our finger on it at the moment. Against the top 6 this year, we've been really good. We've been in every game. Liverpool at home, we was in the game and put them under a lot of pressure that game as well. Like you said, we beat Man City, beat Chelsea due to Liverpool, and then we go and lose silly games where we feel like we should go on and win them. So, no, we've got to work hard on the training pitch and make sure we put it right.
Well, you're the man of the match as well.
Oh,
congratulations, Harry. Well played.
Thank you.
Thank you. He walks away with a man of the match award and a goal. He could have walked away with neither. Should he have been sent off?
It's such a difficult one, you know, depending which angle you look at. This one...
I think that gives the defenders an ability to get back in.
Johnny Evans is going to catch Mane.
Yes, he's quick, but I think he's going away from goal. This is the angle here. Look where the ball's going. Look where the ball's going. That ball there's going there. He's got to take a touch to come back in the pitch.
Yeah.
And then
who's catching Mane there?
No, but I think it's the A.
Mane catches that ball. The ball's not travelling at speed. Mane, with the snow, that ball's holding up. Mane's going to catch that ball, take a touch into the box and have a clear shot. Therefore, it's a clear goal scoring opportunity. Johnny Evans is not catching him.
I think he'd be able to get back if it takes a...
Johnny Evans will get back there and catch Mane.
Yeah,
no chance.
Sort of he's going over semantics, you know, because who knows whether he would have caught him or not. I think the important thing, Peter, How has the referee come to the decision it's a yellow, not a red? That's probably the most important thing.
Yeah, well, in that instance, if it's a denial of a goal scoring opportunity, he's got to take in all the Ds, and that is the direction of the ball, where the ball was going, the defenders and the defenders' ability to catch him, and also the distance from the goal. And when you factor all those three things in there, they don't tick the boxes because the ball's going away from goal. There's the possibility of the defending, because of the distance being run, who knows what's to happen. So for me, it's not a clear red card, it's a yellow card for the reckless challenge on the attacker.
I agree. If it's a clear cut, we're sitting here arguing about it. If it was just like, listen, well, I think he's definitely going to go in on goal, then I'd say it's red.
So who's winning?
Who's going to win that? Mane's got a 2-3 yard head start.
If Mane picks the ball up 25, 30 yards out, what are the chances of him scoring from there?
Well, he'll be then cutting in on a trickier angle. It's the angle of the ball for me. I mean, it's not necessarily how far he is away, because, you know, he's definitely going to win the foot race, but it's the angle, the ball's going away. I think it's a really good debate. I mean, you can make a case for both, but I think
if he cuts in, he scored from a tight angle tonight, by the way. Yeah, but his pace will get him in the box.
How do you know?
Because I know.
How do you know it won't?
Because he's quicker than me and you.
Not me.
Yeah, well.
Look, Peter, before you go, there was another decision, probably even bigger, actually. Now, at the time, you said during the match that you thought that this wasn't a penalty. I think to give you your due, you hadn't seen all the angles at that moment. Obviously, neither has the referee out there. But have you changed your mind?
Yeah, I've changed my mind. I had impeded him. It may be the slightest of touches, but it's enough to put him off. And in fact, the correct decision, in my opinion, should have been a penalty kick.
Yeah, 100%. I think we all agreed. We spoke about it. We got these angles straight away, and we all said this, and that's definite penalty for us. But listen, it swings around.
Quickly, next season we're going to have VAR in a game like this. Would VAR have overruled that? How would the process have worked?
I think that's the classic example of VAR intervening. I think what would have happened there, the guy looking at the screen would have seen the same angles that Ivan, you've seen post the actual incident, and said to Martin Atkinson, just hold the play a moment and perhaps go over to the monitor, the side of the field, have a look yourself, because I think it's a penalty kick. And Martin would have looked at, because it's a subjective decision, would have gone over, had a look, and then made his decision. And who knows what he'd have made.
What do you think he would have made?
Penalty kick.
Thought so. All right, thanks a lot, Peter.
OK.
Thanks. Look, it's so difficult because Leicester played really well, obviously, but you can't have these sorts of incidents that could lead to the title being won or lost again. You know, for a club that haven't won the league since 1990.
It happens all the time, though. You can't say that. We lost the title one time, but it was a handball or an offside decision. You can go on all the way back through the years. It's part and parcel of it. That's why I do like VAR, but I do like the element of human error and us having to discuss that after. I like that element. It is swings and roundabouts. You get the good, you've got to take the good with the bad. It happens, man. That's what it is.
Would you like the human error if it was Man United on the receiving end?
I've been on the receiving end, so you have to deal with it. Keeps me up at night even now.
OK, all right. Let's move on then. So he stayed on the field, Harry Maguire, and he got the goal, the equaliser. Let's have a look at the opening goal first, though. And it's so similar to last night, Mark. Again, you would have imagined that from here they would have just pushed on.
Yeah, you would have. It was a great start. Liverpool are quick out the blocks in general, and Leicester concede a lot, as Robbie said earlier on in the early part of games. Mane here, I like the way he passes it and he runs forward. Anybody can support the play. Leave that to the sitting midfielders. Make a penetrating run. That's exactly what he does. All about the first touch as well for me. The way he opens himself up and gets that space to curl it in the back corner. Great start.
Look, Real, we were talking before we got going this evening that this is where it really starts to matter. This is where the pressure ramps up. This is where the scrutiny ramps up. This is where your phone goes mad after every result for every other team.
And it's all about who deals with it. Who deals with it best? And I think I sensed a team that was sitting there and passing the buck almost at times. Players passing. You do it. You do it. That's something Klopp's going to have to address at some point. I think we're still 15, 16 games out from the end of this season, and you don't want them to see nerves at this stage. This is early to be seeing nerves.
It was in hindsight, I mean, I thought Liverpool would win before the game, but it was a tough game to play, tough opponents. Leicester were really good tonight, and I don't think it's, after watching that, I don't think it's any coincidence that they have good results against the better teams. They sit back really nicely, compact, and then they've got real pace, and they look dangerous. In the first half, they counter-attacked really well, so I think they suited Liverpool tonight as well.
Let's have a look at the equaliser then, Robbie. He stayed on the pitch, he put the ball. Frustration with the free kick.
Yeah, it was silly time to give away a free kick. You know, you can see the manager here as he's shouting, Robbo, you know, what you're doing. And then Maddison with the outswinger. And, you know, Rio knows better than me, but Van Dijk there, he's got Maguire, not look at him, his body shape's wrong. And it's a good, well, it's come off Maguire's heel, but Rio's the centre half there.
Yeah, he's coming out, he's trying to squeeze the plate, which is the right thing to do, but you've got to have an awareness of players around you, and he knows Maguire's a danger, and you'd think it may be a bit of contact bringing him out with him. Yeah, but Matip's playing him on side as well, so there's maybe a couple to blame there, but at the end of the day, it's a great header back in, and he's there to finish it off, and that's what he does well.
Look, Robbie, this is a Leicester moving up to 8th in the Premier League. There's a lot of pressure at the moment. There's a lot of question marks from the Leicester fans about Claude Puel, but it was a brilliant performance tonight. How do you see things unfolding if they can keep...
The worry is, Jake, the fans' perspective of the manager and the style of football. If I was watching Leicester tonight on the TV, or I was at the ground, I'd be so happy. They went toe-to-toe with Liverpool, as Rio said, and Michael. On the counter-attack, they were very, very good. The way they started the second half, you know, they could have had a couple of goals. In the first half, Maddison missed a header at the back post. You know, but, you know, there, Albrighton getting back defending. I think from tonight's evidence, if you've watched Leicester for the first time tonight, you'd say, wow, they play good stuff, they defend well, they're good on the counter-attack. You know, for me, which is always has been. The difference is they play with two sitting midfielders who aren't great passers, but Ndidi and done exceptionally well today. You know, and then Chowdhury's come on. You know, fantastic tackle there.
I think they've got to humble themselves a little bit. I think that they've got to... We heard it at the end of the game there, Maguire saying we don't do it against the teams we should beat, like the likes of Huddersfield, except Cardiff, etc. Sometimes, even against them, we'll sit back. Let them have a little bit of possession. Let them get comfortable in the game. Bring them on to us and then hit them. That's what they were good at that.
What fans want now, it's modern football. Fans want winning, entertaining football. And as I said before, in the history of the Premier League since 1992, Leicester's average position has been 12th, right? So that's what they are, mid-table Premier League side with it. They won the league, which is never going to happen again. Amazing. You know, but the fans who go to Leicester every single week want entertaining football, and they don't know from one week to the next what they're going to get an identity. But tonight, I think we've seen a fantastic Leicester side. So the manager finished 8th with Southampton, got Southampton to a cup final. He could have Leicester finish in the top 10, and his job's under pressure because of this modern football, entertaining football. I don't think
I don't think players at Southampton really took to him. I don't think the players at Leicester really love him. I think you could probably confirm that. I don't think the fans at either club have fancied him. But as you say, results-wise, he's done a decent job.
Football's about more than just results, though, isn't it?
It is, and that's why he's probably more under pressure than he should be.
I think the thing that the fans question is there's, like Robbie said, is there an identity? Because, again, against the lesser clubs who they feel they should be beating and playing off the park, they try to take the game to them and try to play that slow possession football. This isn't Leicester. These players aren't built for that. We see the way that they play in them type of games. They don't look the same team at all. They play